Okay, for those of you listening to the audio podcast, we also release the show with video visuals on YouTube. So if you like some pretty pictures to go along with our pretty voices, search for Digital Suffering Podcast on YouTube to find us. Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of the Digital Suffering Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steven Something, and here's the other host.
I'm PhamtomLimb, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. First up, we're going to have a look at a game you've been playing called Din's Legacy. Summarize the game for us.
Din's Legacy is brand new. I say that with inverted commas on either side. Action RPG that's just been released on Steam. Maybe I think a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago. I saw it had a demo. I love me some action RPG.
You do love action RPG demo. Love.
Well, never gets played demos, right?
Yeah,
not anymore because it's not, 2003. Anyway, so I thought, okay, this looks. I watched the trailer and there was a whole thing about mutations and other cool things that could be a thing, could be a new avenue to pursue because it would be effectively permanent upgrades based on maybe randomization.
Yeah, Diablo meets Rad.
Yeah, right. So I thought that looks kind of cool, and then there was like cosmetic things that went with it, like horns and stone skin or whatever the hell they called it. And I just thought, okay, it looks a bit rough, but this could be a work in progress, like so many other Steam-based RPGs are. Walson. And yeah, so I downloaded the demo and had a play. I can see. Yes, I thought this is definitely a work in progress. The UI is, I want to say, horrendous. I'm not trying to beat up on this game. The UI is horrendous.
Give us some examples.
Okay, so as soon as you jump into the game, it gives you a warning.
The warning. The UI is horrendous. Okay, cancel.
No. It is.
Okay.
It is. This game has events and quests that will expire over time, essentially. So if you don't do something, if you don't save the maiden from the dragon, the whatever,
she gets eaten.
Essentially, within a certain time allotted, which they do not give you, by the way. There's no ticking clock.
You just, once you get the quest, you should get on your ass and fix it.
Exactly, because if you don't, it perpetually moves forward in time. So if you imagine like games, I don't know, I can't think of one, Zelda or a game where it has a progressive time clock and year.
Majora's Mask.
There you go, right? So this has that, you just don't ever see it, right? Yeah. So you have no notion of time here.
It doesn't have a night-day cycle.
Not that I experienced. And also, so there's that, and I don't mind about the quest expiring, like the woman's going to get eaten by insert monster here. I don't...
Orcs.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, they do hate on the orcs in this franchise. So, yeah, I don't mind about that, but I'd like a heads up as to how much time I actually do have.
Say you have this many hours, or just a rough...
Exactly, and there was no marker on the map to say this is 900 miles away, get going now, sucker, or this is behind that tree over there.
You take your time.
Yeah, just do it.
You have to locate.
So it was poor, and considering it was a guy in town giving out this quest, where did he get this information from?
Everyone, there's telepathic messaging, email perhaps.
Right. Another example, like, yes, I get it with there's lots of help icons that pop up. So you get a string of question marks above your skill bar and, where you have all your inventory and other quick icons, right? So you get these question marks.
Yeah.
And so they give you, like, tips about how your inventory works and weapons and skills and yada, 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 right? These things you have to read and then click the close button. If you click the X button, they return back to that point and keep
they're
flashing.
not marked as red.
No, exactly. It's like an email that just won't go away, and it flashes as well, so it's constantly trying to get your attention.
In your peripheral vision.
Yes. So I at one point I realised I had like 7 of these things flashing in unison, and I was like, "What's going on?" So like, and this was 5 minutes into the game.
Warning: this game may cause epilepsy.
So obviously I've read through them, obviously, and yeah, there's some stuff that's interesting, and some stuff that's just pretty basic, like set items, need all the set items to get the set bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shocker. Whatever. Going through those, but then you start getting these icons that randomly appear on your screen. That if you click on them, you're getting like an SMS message, an email. I don't know what it is. A telepathic howdy doody from a bad guy who's never met you but knows your name. What now? And he's referring to me directly. And there's one he's calling me sugar pie or something like that.
Sweet cakes, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It doesn't
I've
matter.
got footage of it.
He's dead now.
I've got footage of it, and I've killed him. Anyway, and it's like, where are these messages coming from? One, how does this evil bad guy even give a damn about me and know that I exist, considering I just appeared in a town 5 minutes ago?
He friended you on like Facebook, and now you're his mortal enemy.
Yeah, I denied his request.
Oh, not my request. I'm coming to kill you, sweet cakes.
Yeah, and
what?
The messages are weird. They are invasive to the gameplay.
Screen-fillingly intrusive.
Yes, yeah, like
they don't pause the action. It just
there's a giant text box with a small picture of him. Low res small picture of him. Yeah, so there's that, and these icons will not stop flashing on screen. So you're getting like a hand or a knife or something in a round circle arbitrarily flashing on your screen, and you're like,
it means stab something.
On earth is this crap?
It's the universal icon for stab the thing in front of you.
There was one icon where I tried to click on it and it wouldn't click, but it clicked the character to move to that position. But I couldn't access the actual thing. So it was either a bug or I don't know what it was. It was insane. Graphically, the game is dated.
Diablo 1.
It's like if Diablo 1 used a 3D engine.
Yeah, if someone said, hey, Diablo 1, I'm going to port it to a 3D engine.
Yeah.
Add coloured lighting. Job done.
Yeah, the characters look like they were made in Poser 3D about 15 years ago. Yeah, I don't really care about those things. I care more about the game engine and about like pathing and like everything. Another point was something that my brain was struggling with for a strong minute was the universal hold your character in place to attack or cast or whatever has always been shift on a keyboard.
Multiple games you've played, shift they use.
Yes, every action RPG to date that I have played has employed this, including like the whole Torchlight franchise, the whole Diablo franchise, Path of Exile, every indie one from here to Oblivion, and this one wants to change it to Control.
Because it's using shift for something else.
But it's not.
It's saving it. During endgame, you get you get like a shift attack.
Yeah.
And they're saving it for that special moment.
So without even thinking about it, I'm pressing shift and then getting annoyed, and then I find out it's Control, and that doesn't work for my brain. But the game doesn't lend itself to that anyway, because the attacks seem to both be quick and slow.
What does that mean?
It's kind of hard to describe. It's like it takes a fortnight to wind up, but you're not sure if it's because it's not registering the click at all, and then when you actually attack somebody, the action is completed almost instantaneously. With what I was using for most of what I played, was a double-handed wooden hammer.
Yeah.
Which you'd imagine would be quite slow. It had like a 1.12 attack speed or something.
Yeah,
1.2 attack speed per second. And it, like I said, the wind-up was forever, and the actual action seemed to go instantaneous. So there's no
the animation it's not spread through properly throughout the animation cycle. Essentially,
it's like once he's got that hammer back, it's then instantaneously he's hit.
He's done a swipe.
Yeah, and it felt like almost like the character wasn't registering my button click.
Yeah,
like it wasn't. There's no buffering in this game as well. Zero buffering.
It's like it's almost like a time to cast for your melee actions.
It's exactly that. It's like they calculated it like doing a spell.
Yeah.
Whereas it should not be like that for a weapon attack.
Yeah, it should be the swing should be all part of the one motion.
Exactly. Yeah. It was jarring, but it's kind of just one of those things. You just keep moving through it as you do.
Yeah.
But that side, the pathing is okay. The character seems to go where you click it, and he doesn't seem to like. Yeah.
Were there any terrain areas where there was like difficulty pathing, or was it fairly wide open spots with very little to path around? I mean,
very little to path around.
So literally, you could walk directly, except for like solid objects. Most of it was fairly easy to navigate.
Yeah, there was like a foresty-esque environment, which there was absolutely no movement of foliage or anything like that. But yes, it didn't. There wasn't janky, invisible plant roots in the way.
Yeah, you like clip on everything every like.
Yeah, there was none of that. But I have to say, especially when you're outside, in the sort of starter area where it has the most random brown, green, patchy, undulating earth beneath you.
Terrain heights.
That's not terrain height. That's just bad. There was a lot of... you can see the squares, like literally see the mapping of the floor.
Oh. So the tiling is obvious.
Tiling is beyond obvious, yes. And then some of them flicker. Like, I'm not running this on a potato. I'm running it on a machine that plays modern games very well.
Maybe we need 2 potatoes.
And this, like, there is clear flickering. And I remember, I think you read something of somebody on Steam saying that they're running it with a...
Yeah, Vega 64.
Yeah, which is a modern graphics card, and they're having 20 frames per second and patchy flickering areas.
Something like that, yeah.
Which I didn't experience 20 frames a second. It seemed to run okay. It just seemed like a very bad engine.
It said 20 FPS on the Vega 64, flickering squares everywhere, and the FPS will hike down to single digits frequently.
I definitely didn't experience that.
It doesn't look like a game that's...
It's not taxing.
There's nothing...
There's like almost no particle effects.
It should not be... That sounds like some serious optimization there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just
you should update your drivers, bro.
Sponsored by NVIDIA.
Yeah, that's it. They've optimized it for NVIDIA, and damn the Radeon crowds to hell.
Yeah, if you're using ATI, it's using software rendering.
Yeah.
We're just not going to tell you.
So there's that. The mini-map, just briefly, the mini-map is the most horrendous thing I've seen out. Like, it looks like the map from Majora's Mask. It has that level of detail. Actually, maybe... No! Link to the Past.
Link to the Past.
Yeah, it has that level of detail where it's just shades of green. with it might as well have Link's face on it from where it shows
where you are. A little pixelated.
But instead it's just a green blob where you are and red blobs where enemies are.
Right.
But like when I went into the full map, it didn't change much. It rendered the same level of no detail.
Gee. Maybe the map's more of a suggestion, you know. It's like
yeah.
You're here, you're kind of here,
yeah.
They're kind of there. Head in that direction.
Figure it out, idiot.
Yeah, but it's like medieval times. They didn't have like GPS and...
Yeah, they didn't have cartographers, did they? Wait, hold on. Yes, they did.
But the orcs didn't have cartographers.
Oh, whatever. also another aspect of the game which is something that I really was interested in, which I mentioned before, was mutation tree.
Ah, yes, it's the mutations.
So they've just treated it as from like the demo only takes you to level 7, and you can decide by the end of me ranting about it whether it's worth your, I don't even know how big this was, like a gigabyte of data or something. Yeah. But they treat the passive tree, or like from what I've seen, I did pick the strangest character class because there was like 7. There was a crazy amount of characters.
What class did you pick?
I think it was like what are they called?
Dustbin Man.
Like a minstrel. I think it's a minstrel. Right, just because I thought he's got the weirdest set of skills. I want to see how this pans out.
Yeah.
Like, because he's got like a sonic boom, electricity attack.
Sonic boom.
Which I don't actually have access to. I haven't. Not even the base version have I been able to learn yet.
But you can see it on the skill
tree. I can see
it
when you go to the character select screen at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It shows you this skill.
Yeah.
But it has yet to become selectable.
Level 99.
It has yet to become selectable or even in his skill tree currently. So I don't know if it's going to be added or if just in the demo they've just taken it out because it's too OP or I don't know.
Here's a skill. You
can't play as
you can't use it.
Yeah. So I was
by the full game.
I've been annoyed by that. So all he's got is like a heavy strike,
which makes it that's like
which by irony moves at exactly the same speed as normal attack, but crits and has this light show.
Why would you ever use normal attack?
Well, no. Once I realised that it doesn't actually deplete my mana any. Again, what?
Why would a strike deplete mana?
Because it's a magical attack, essentially.
But it's wait, what?
Well, everything depletes mana in games, dude. What do you think?
Does it?
Do you think a barbarian just whirlwinds around without spending his mana?
Do barbarians have mana? When did this happen?
He doesn't have mana in D3, but in D2, yes.
Yes, but I'm D3, you see.
Yeah, no, you're not. You should be, but you're not. No, he uses like rage or whatever in.
Yeah, it's a depletable resource.
It's a resource, and it gets depleted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they treat the mutation tree. So they have basic skills, they have skills, and then they have mutations. So the mutation tree just seems to be treated as a passive tree.
Yeah.
So as you level, you get more mutations.
But
it seems.
Yeah.
And then you can pump points into them in order to make them more. I don't want to say
mutated.
The word powerful, but yes,
yeah.
Have more of an effect on you.
Yeah.
So like regen mana or tougher or
with the other two skill trees.
Yeah.
Did you have choice as to what skills you could pick? Or did they just give you...
They give you a selection and then you can put points into them.
But with the mutations, you just got a skill. They say, here's a new mutation, it gives you this passive.
It seemed that way, yes.
But the problem is that you couldn't tell whether it was, truly, it's a random. So if you do 2 playthroughs with the same character, you might get a different set of mutations.
Yeah,
or
who knows?
If it's just, you've reached point B, you get mutation B, you reach point C, you reach...
Yeah, who knows?
Okay.
I mean, there's zero communication feeding back to the player. There's 100 messages that you have to read in the first 5 minutes. But there's zero communication saying why you have this mutation or where it came from.
Because you're an orc and you're mutated.
But because... yeah, that's right. But in the blurb that we read, it seems to almost say that you can choose mutation. But it's I
don't call it.
Maybe it didn't use those words. Maybe I intimated that from its jargon. But it just seems to be as where I got to in the demo, basically the end of the demo. It did seem to be just a list of passives that you can choose to upgrade.
Is a point mentioned in the thing. Use mutation points to mutate your character towards another character or subclass, which implies you can.
Yeah, I wasn't
control the mutations.
Yeah, I wasn't getting that. You can put points into them to make them
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, but make them more effective. But not.
Oh wait, guide your character's evolution, choosing improving skills, suppressing unwanted mutations, etc. Could you suppress mutations?
No, you just don't put points into them. That's one way.
That's a suppression. I'm
going to suppress your money flow by making you unemployed.
These horns, I'm going to suppress them by not thinking about them.
Then you've got the basic skills, which mean this is what I hate. It's like we have moved past this convention.
Have we though?
Yes, absolutely.
What convention have we moved past?
We've moved past the convention that I need to learn how to use a two-handed weapon.
But you see, right?
I've got two hands.
Two hands at the same time is just. Have you ever tried juggling? It's very difficult. You need to put skill points into it.
Hold on a cotton picking minute. I can swing a cricket bat or a baseball bat,
but you can only do it with one hand.
Kind of bat with both hands
because you put points
quite proficiently.
Because you put points into that skill.
No. With great proficiency.
Because you put a lot of points.
It is not because it's not the same as juggling. Right. That's a skill.
You give a baby learned a cricket bat and see if they use both hands. They can't until they put points.
You're just trying to trigger me anyway. Yeah, so you need to learn one-handed skills. You need to learn two-handed skills.
In D&D, you have to do that as well.
This ain't D&D's dead. Like unless you're rolling dice and you've got a board in front of you, don't talk to me about D&D.
That's right, 5th edition.
No, yeah. If you're talking about D&D as in its traditional tabletop thing,
yeah,
fine, great. If you're talking about any of the D&D games that have ever been spawned, put them in a bin, forget they exist. I
am slightly offended by that.
Really?
Only slightly.
Okay, cool. I'm willing to live with that. Anyway.
Right. You'll probably be disappointed.
So, having to learn these skills, if you're an adventurer,
it's D&D tropes. You have to learn.
And we have moved past them. No modern games.
If you've got a two-handed weapon, you can't use it until you put points into it, or you can use it, but you're just not good at it.
You could use basic ones, and things like swords I can't use.
Until you put points into it.
But I'm using a two-handed mace, which I seem to be okay with.
Because it's not a sword. The moment you put sharpened edge on that, whoa! How does this work?
Swords and axes I can't use, because I put no points into these, because F that. Right? Swords and axes can't use. This hammer that's just as strong as them, I'm fine
Whereas
with.
in D&D, you get two-handed proficiency. Any two-handed weapon you can use, because it's just two-handed.
Exactly. Right? And also
that's dumb. That's a dumb way to implement it.
Yeah, and then there's things like mana and health and things like that. So the basic skills should be erased. Like they just don't need to be there. They're a horrible thing that's going to be draining on your resource of what limited. I don't even know what the level cap is in this game because I couldn't find it anywhere. But it's going to basically drain what levels you want to put into your skills in order to make the game more exciting or make you stronger.
Yeah.
In order to drain you by putting them into these stupid subclasses. We've moved past this. This is not the benchmark at which we want to play games anymore. I'm sorry, but it's just boring.
Clearly we haven't, because this game has.
Yeah, but this game was actually made 15 years ago, and it just lying about when it was released. Anyway, then you've got the special skills, which out of the 5 skills that I had, 4 of them were passive. Go figure.
Because passives are... we're big on passives. Orcs love to be passive.
And as I said to you earlier about this Minstrel skill I picked the Minstrel for, wasn't there. So in the entirety of his skill tree that I could see in this demo was 5 skills, 1 being an active skill, 4 of them being passive.
Seems
lacking. So essentially at the point where I got to the end of the demo, I had 4 mutations, all passive, and 4 passive skills from my tree. I could have had more if I'd leveled up any more, like if the level cap wasn't set at 7 in the demo, and then had more passive skills from the basic tree. So I'm just a passive skilled monster.
What they should do is add a passive that makes your active skill passive. And then you can put points into it to make it stronger.
And it's just like, what?
Then they can like passive pathing, so that your character just completes the quests by you just watch.
You just watch that horribly polygonated Sorry, not polygonated. Horribly put together mess. So a lot of problems there. Like there's no feel of power with the skills. There's no progression of power with the skills. You need, in the basic skills, you need to learn how to wear certain types of armor as well. So that cuts off like heavy armor and mail armor and everything like that.
But it's like putting on a bra. It's, the clasps are very difficult,
Yeah, well, I'd get my peon to do it for me. Boy, put my armor on. Whatever.
But then you need like peon interaction skills. You need to put points into that.
Well, in the town you start in, there's at least 4 characters that you can just walk up to and say, "Do you want to go with me?"
Hey, do you fancy some adventure?
Yeah, there's literally. I think outside the walls of the first encampment, there was even more people.
Can you have like more than one peon? Or?
No, you're set to a limit of 1.
Oh, what a shame. Because, like, obviously there's 4 people hanging around bored out their skulls. If you get all 4 of them, then your fighting will be passive as well, because they do the fighting for you.
Well, this dude, the worst name ever for a helper. I mean, including D2 helpers as well, which had, like, crazy names. Some of which were obviously culturally appropriate, which on Blizzard's part...
Were they dynamically generated, or were they like from the
pool? Oh, there was a pool, but it was dynamically generated from the pool.
Okay, so it picks like first name, second name.
Oh no, it's just the
first
name.
word, second word. Oh, just okay.
Yeah, like Fazil. Well, in Act 2 you could get a guy that was called Fazil, but they were of the area you were in.
Yeah.
So in one encampment they would have names that were very
race specific.
Exactly, like very culturally appropriate for the area you were in.
Okay, so if you were in the area with lizard men, your helpers would be lizard men. And
no, not in that respect, but just like names of the surrounding people would sound similar to the helpers that would...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was good. Like Blizzard kind of put some effort into it.
Yeah.
This guy's name that I selected, who was the first person I saw, was next to the guy who gives me the quest and my stash, and I just wandered over to him and was like, "Hey bro," and his name is Palms.
Because what he does is he steals a lot.
No.
He's like, "Hey, what's that over there?" Yoink.
But
does he pick up loot for
palms? Like plural. Palms.
Because he has 2 palms. As most
makes me want to cry.
As most villagers do. If he was palm single, he'd be like half as helpful.
Do you think? Carries a 2-handed weapon as well, so palms used twice.
Exactly.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't need any proficiency skills to carry that 2-handed weapon.
Because he has natural proficiency.
No, well, he carries the same weapon as me, and I don't have any natural proficiency either. So it's just 2 bros running around with hammers, smashing orcs in the face. It's summer!
You're a minstrel with no minstrel appropriate... Did you find any minstrel appropriate weapon?
Nope. What, like a lute?
Can you imagine... They should give you like a guitar, an electric guitar shaped like an axe.
An electric guitar.
Yeah, that way you could do electric attacks.
Christ.
And then you say, "Oh, you don't have axe proficiency.
You don't have a power adapter." Yeah.
Then your peon could carry the amps for you.
And you could rock out.
Those things are fairly heavy. You could do a lot of damage just by throwing them. Think about it.
Yes. Okay. Right. So we've covered skills. We've covered graphics. We've covered the horrible nature of a lot of things, like the messaging system, which seems to be an internal email between you and people you've never met before who are threatening your life by calling you
would you like to buy
sugar cakes or whatever?
V1 Gra. What is this?
There was another thing that was that's annoying. Like the skill thing of having to make yourself proficient. There was another thing that I was... I can't forget the inventory. The inventory is bellissimo. It is beyond horrendous. Beyond horrendous. You seem to have... When you open the inventory, you seem to have your allotted equipment.
Yeah.
A random set of other equipment in there.
What?
I'm not sure what some of it even was.
Okay.
Right, because I hadn't collected anything that fitted in that slot, so I'm...
You had random stuff equipped? equipped.
No. I hadn't found the item to equip into
Okay.
that slot.
Okay.
But I don't know what the slot was for.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, so they had slots, but they don't tell you what they're for.
Yeah, it was just like, what even is this? And the pictures are so low res and hideous that I was just like, I don't know what that is, but when I come across it, good times.
Yeah, you'll attach it to whatever body part it attaches to.
Yeah, and then bags. So you collect bags. So in a similar vein to what Titan Quest and Grim Dawn did, where as you progress, you find expansions to your
expansion bags. Essentially.
Essentially to your inventory. So this has a similar system.
Yeah.
But the inventory also is from a UI perspective. It has the bags on the inventory of your character, so where the armor and weapons and F go, and then aside from that has a separate window which is 24-ish squares big, and that can is one item for one square, but that is the actual inventory. So it comes up almost like two windows when you open your inventory.
But is that second inventory window, is that the bag's contents?
Yes.
So if you have to click
on the bag, and it will open each bag as a separate window to that.
Can you have multiple windows open?
Yes.
And then drag and drop between them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the bags I picked up was literally 4 squares, and then one I started with, there was 24, I think.
I've seen, Neverwinter had a similar thing.
It just looks like it's bad presentation. It's just bad presentation.
Although it's why aren't the windows docked as a unified inventory?
Exactly. Why aren't they? Because your inventory comes up in the middle of the screen, and then your backpacks come up at the side of the screen.
There's a big gulf between them.
And they don't seem to be related, but they're absolutely related.
It's so you can look at the action going on in the backgroround between the two bags. So it doesn't...
Yes, because it doesn't pause the game. I wouldn't expect it to, but
you do definitely need to keep it so that way you don't forget where you are.
Right, because that happens a lot.
If the inventory covered a lot of the screen, you'd be like, oh...
Well, because you have Alzheimer's.
I was rearranging my inventory, and now I've forgotten where I am. I better close my inventory so I can see what's on the screen. These things can happen.
These things can't happen. Yes, I agree completely. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask.
Hideous, horrible. There was another point I was going to make, and I'm struggling to remember what it was.
Something positive.
It was an old trope that this game has embraced again with both arms, which shouldn't be. And I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned up in the pre-show about the UI, how the health and mana is displayed.
Yes. So a lot of games have a goblet or a bubble.
In Diablo, they got the spheres of colour.
Yeah, exactly, right. And this has a gargoyle in each end, so they've ripped that off from everybody else. But the gargoyle's colour is... So mana is blue, health is red. So the gargoyle has a filter over it where it's literally red or blue. And then when it depletes, it becomes grey like stone.
Yeah.
Which, to your eye... I literally die in some of the footage that I've captured. I literally die because I wasn't aware that I was
at perilous health level.
Yeah, and there was no. I don't think there's any real indication on screen, and because
it doesn't flash the border red or anything.
Exactly, yeah, and because the color is so inert on your health, it did not register to look down or anything. There was no.
It doesn't catch your eye.
Yeah, essentially, on all of these games, they make it a color.
Well, actually, it does flash the screen red, or does it? The screen flashed red for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe I got hit. Yeah, there's a point in the video where I am gigantic because I get a shrine called the Offering of Giant or Giant Offering or something like that. So I become gigantic, but it is a curse, not a blessing, in the truest sense of the words. Because now I find it impossibly hard to click on the enemies because I am in the way. And also, the enemies find it much easier to gang up on me because they can hit me from 14 sides now.
Yeah. because your surface area is now larger.
Yes.
I think if you
does cause my death.
If you click on yourself, it just eats the click. It doesn't say, "Oh, you wanted to click."
If you click on yourself, it will rearrange where you're standing. Because obviously, the point at which you're standing is only one click. So if you click anywhere off that point, even if it's still
a movement click.
It's a movement click.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this didn't control clicking here didn't help because I could barely see some of the enemies. So there's a couple of times where I literally have to run away 2 steps in order to run back in with a click on the enemy in order to attack the enemy.
You could have, like, if you're like a villain, you could have like tons of those shrines around your lair, and so the heroes, as they're walking through, they accidentally touch them, become gigantic, and then your minions can mow them down because they'll be easy.
just ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you have any fun playing it?
No.
I mean, was it like this is I want to proceed because I want to find out what the story's thing, or just curiosity, or was it the case? Okay, well, I've tried it. I want to see what it's like. Hopefully, it will get better in future. But at the moment, I'm not seeing anything I like, sort of thing.
I always go into these games because I've played so many of them. I always go into these games thinking that they may have done something different that other games did badly, and this might be the way forward. And sometimes it happens like that. And like there's the mechanic in Torchlight where you have the little companion pet, and you can load them up with gear, and they can run back to town and sell that gear for you. Yeah. So you can keep moving on instead of every 5 minutes you
having
fill
to
your
empty
bag.
your inventory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of a quest, that's invaluable because you want to spend as much time out there grinding for gold and experience and whatever, right? So that was like one little thing, and it's happened over games where that's the case. You get like maybe 2 or 3 things out of a game, and you think that should be a standard now. Yeah,
this feature is good, and so should be in any game that succeeds it.
Yes, yeah, because like it's obviously a step forward instead of a step back. But this game seems to
have none of those steps.
No, it's like has not learned from the last 10 years.
It's like from Diablo, and it is a successor to that.
Yeah, and in a bad way as well. Like I remember the original. I think it was the original Divine Divinity.
Ah, there's a name from the past.
Like the games now, the Divine Divinity games now are utterly different. I think it's Divine Divinity. And it had the thing where you become encumbered.
Yeah.
And that's a shitty mechanic. A shitty mechanic.
Neverwinter had that as well.
Like... I hate that mechanic.
I love picking up stuff, and it was like, you walk slowly now. And I'm like, but I went right. Time to get back to the vendor to sell. Walk slowly. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
Right. And it was like, so you could pick up 100 items that would encumber you like 1, or you could pick up 1 item that would encumber you by 5. And you're like, no.
That sounds like it was poor implementation of the encumbrance.
It's a shitty system, and you know what?
Perfect system.
No one employs it anymore except Bethesda with Fallout.
Real life employs the encumbrance system, and it does it very effectively.
You know what we're not playing? Real life.
I play real life on occasion.
No.
So, you said you plan to test a few of the other character classes just to see if there's any kind of variation on it, I guess.
I wanted to test how the spells.
Yeah.
But even if I'd get access to them, because I thought I'd get access to the spell. With
Can you
Minstrel.
imagine? You said, right, I'm going to pick a mage, and like none of the spells are available, and the first skill you have to pick is a 2-handed hammer. Literally, all the characters have to go through the same thing.
I remember what I was going to say. The other trope that this falls into, which in this game is a death sentence. So, at the beginning of a lot of old RPGs that this has obviously taken its cue from, at the beginning of the game, they give you a bunch of stupid fetch quests.
Yeah.
And, they overload you with quests.
Yeah.
So in order for you to get a feel for the game, get out there and get some experience.
Yeah, like tutorial fetch quests.
Almost, yeah. Right? So that is dead in most games.
Yeah.
Like, they'll give you one main quest story and there'll be a side quest that you can do or not do. Like a couple of those, but you'll be forging on the main quest.
Yeah.
Right? With this game, it falls back into that thing. So at the beginning of the game, I could get one quest. When I went back to town, I think after I died from being giant and getting ploughed by 1,000 orcs at the same time, I think I picked up another 2 quests. Right? The quests aren't visible on screen, so you have to go into your journal or whatever it's called in this game. I believe it is a journal, right? Because the UI is so horrendous, right? You can't see whether it's very difficult to make out what has been done and what not has been done.
Really?
It's like, I'm sure there is a queue that I probably missed, but
most games,
if I missed it...
Most games, they move the completed quests to another page or tab or something.
You'd think, wouldn't you? Or they'd just say...
Can you imagine if it keeps all the quests like where they are when you get them? So to get to the latest quest, you have to scroll past all the completed ones.
Oh man,
that would be hilarious.
It does the opposite in Borderlands, where it puts all the completed ones beneath the ones that are current.
Yeah.
Right. So in that respect, you can go back and go, "Oh, I did that one."
Yeah.
Right. But it's a death sentence in this game because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the game, with the warning of the game that it is perpetual, and if you don't do a quest,
it's run us out of time. Yeah.
Exactly, it's going to run out. Right. When I went to town the 3rd time, also there seems to be no vendor to sell crap to, so I was literally throwing items out of my inventory.
There was no vendors.
There was a guy handing out quests, people to talk to that would join your party, and no vendor.
Wow.
So I was literally throwing crap out, white items out of my inventory onto the floor to pick up the crap that the guy had been sending me messages after I caved his head in. And then went back to town and looking for this vendor and to not find. But then realised that he had even more quests. And by the end of this, I was thinking, hold on a second, these are going to expire before I even get to them because I have no idea where they are. Like, there's no heads-up thing saying, you need to travel to X.
To this village. Or this is where the lair of the spider monster is.
Thanks for giving me the quest. Where the F do I find this guy? Oh, I don't know.
You have to...
He just sent me an email.
What you have to do...
He emailed me that he needs help.
What you need to do is map out the entire land, cartographer's style, and make note of where all the points of interest are.
Every character, write down their name.
And that way, when you get back to the quest giver, he says, right, you need a quest thing. You go, you look at reference your maps.
Yep.
And you know exactly where everything is.
Ah, so this is teaching you to be a cartographer.
Yeah, you picked the cartographer class, right?
Right.
They can only use a hammer, though.
Well, to build things, right?
It's like you hammer out a map.
Honestly. So, immediately, they're absolutely bombarding you with quests, and you have no idea where you're going.
So there's no waypoint system,
not that I found.
Nothing on the maps.
I'm sure there's a teleportation system in the game because of what we're going to go on to now. That this is the second game to a game that was made years ago called Din's Curse.
Din's Curse. The curse was playing the game, probably.
Yeah, the curse was that you would revisit this. Right, so I had a look at that. Well, we had a look at it pre-show, and it looks like a polygonized version of this.
Yeah.
So just like a low-res, still 3D, but like in the era of, I don't know. When
Diablo.
No, not even. When was it made, that one?
When was what made?
Curse.
Din's Curse.
Because this was made this was released this year, but I think Din's Curse was like 5-6 years ago or something.
Possibly. I don't think it was that. It didn't seem that long ago. But, let's have a click on that. One thing to note is that the developer Soldak Entertainment's release date's 2010 for Din's Curse.
Right. So
have a game called Zombicides.
Yes,
with
which was 2016.
2016, which featured zombie orcs. And what they did was they used that game engine to make Din's Legacy, which also features zombie orcs.
Yeah, so this is like it's almost like a 3 game with the unofficial middle sequel being
Zombicides.
Zombicide. Catchy name.
Yeah.
Never going to forget that. What was it called again?
Zombicides. The thing is, I read the name Zombicides, and I think it's like an evolution stone for zombies to evolve into the next form. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at Zombicide, this is a carbon copy of it.
Yeah, they just reuse the assets.
Yeah, like literally the same levels. Like we watched a little bit, saw a couple of screenshots, and there is very little difference. So, I mean, I hope they've implemented different mechanics into this game, because otherwise it just seems to be they've reskinned an old game, barely reskinned an old game, and re-released it.
Yeah,
for more monies.
But that's how the game. That's how you play the game.
Yeah, but if you were playing if you were playing an Assassin's Creed game, you'd expect that 100%. But this isn't an Assassin's Creed game, and anything that doesn't have Assassin's Creed on it, I want it to be more than the sum of its previous parts.
Except that in this case, this is exactly Assassin's Creed, by your definition.
Yes. Shitting on Assassin's Creed is of great pleasure to me.
Just make sure you wipe when you're done.
I mean, the highlight of the Assassin's Creed franchise is probably the movie.
That's on my that's my Netflix queue.
Is it really?
So, this game, you are tentatively looking forward to paying money for it.
Well, I can pay money for it because the game's out. But I'm never going to pay for it because it's a hideous, outdated, poorly implemented example of what does not represent what the current iterations of this genre are.
Yeah,
and that is what angers me the most, because it leans on these boring, outdated tropes. It's like if somebody came to you and said, "Oh, you've got a headache. Oh, you should use leeches for that."
Trephining is how you cure headaches.
Leeches?
Trephining.
Leeches?
No, trephining.
What the hell's trephining?
You drill a hole in the skull
to pour out the badness.
To release the pressure.
Sure.
Get a clip with the times, man. This is modern technology.
Yeah, exactly. And this game is the equivalent of that, of your trephining and leeches.
Not leeches. You don't use leeches for headaches.
Use leeches for everything, I'm afraid.
Except for headaches.
Including headaches. Yeah, this is the equivalent of that. It's deafeningly bad with its old man implementation. I'm not like, the studio has made this game 3 times now,
but it's retro. That means it's cool, right?
I have no words to say to that at all.
Yeah, you have no words. I've broken you.
I was just reading what was on the screen.
Yeah.
It seemed like the same message with the coloured letters being the only thing that had changed. But then I realised that it's exactly the same message with one additional thing written into it. And it's in like large case and smaller case, but it's written twice. You get an endless stream of messages in this game as well. That even if you turn them off,
it's to like you play an MMO, you got a string of area chats.
Crap that people are saying. Yeah.
This simulates that.
Yeah, I don't want it. I hate it in games. I turn it off.
I don't
care what people in the community are saying. I couldn't give a shit.
This wants you to know what the game's thinking.
Yeah, all it's doing is saying where I am, and that's arbitrary because on the map it doesn't tell me where I am.
You need a better map.
I need a better game.
Yeah.
They need a better game. Soul, whatever they're called, the studio, Soldak, yeah, drips off the tongue just like their other game, Zombicides.
They need to put points into game making skill.
Yeah, they do. If they want to use their 3 games over a period of 9 years, and they have not moved beyond these boring, archaic, needless tropes, is
But seriously, tell me how you really feel.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay. And there's another thing, right? I think, what was it called? Sacred.
Yeah.
Do you remember Sacred? Did you ever play Sacred?
I didn't play it.
Okay, so Sacred. There's a franchise that they have truly murdered, right? But there was Sacred, and then there was, I think it was Sacred 2.
It does sound familiar, but this is a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, probably more than 10 years now. And then there was Sacred 3 that came out on the consoles and PC. But Sacred 3 was, if you imagine God of War. So no loot. There's only loot in exactly the same place, exactly the same time, from exactly the same thing. So no loot dropping, nothing.
Yeah.
It was literally just a linear dungeon affair. So they took the action RPG element out of it completely.
Yeah.
And just streamlined it to be an almost arcade experience.
Yeah, you just complete it once and you're done.
Yeah, one and done. Which was horrendous. But Sacred understood that there was a tipping point in... This is what action RPGs don't understand anymore. Right? There's a tipping point in an action RPG where you become... your character becomes proficient, your character becomes powerful enough to deal with the enemies. So that's when the game can afford to throw 100 enemies at you at once.
Because you can take it.
Which is where it's what D2 understood. It's what Path of Exile understands. It's what, to a slightly lesser degree, Torchlight understands. There's a point where that's the point of fun. It's the fun bit.
Yeah, when the game is challenging.
Yes.
But you still feel powerful.
Exactly. There is an equal ebb and flow of, damn, I'm strong, and holy crap, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
There's that, but these games don't understand this. Like Walson, I haven't got to any point where that is the case, or what's the other one?
What the Children of Men?
No, not that. Another one that we were talking about in an earlier podcast, which I need to go back to because there's been some updates to it, and momentarily forgotten it. Anyway, and this do not understand. They are always putting you at the point of you're just about to die. You're just about to die. You're just about to die.
Yeah, you never feel powerful.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how many skills you accrue, how many points you put into it, how many levels you are. The enemies are always tougher than they need to be in order to get that gratification of wiping out a whole room of enemies.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Path of Exile, I've seen character builds where they literally will do an attack and it is so, like the AoE on it is so insane that they will run forward while the AoE is still hitting the enemies.
They'll follow the wave.
Yeah, and literally wipe out 2 screens worth of enemies with one attack.
Wow.
And the enemy, and then it has a satisfying thing, like if it was an ice attack, they'll crystallize and explode as you're running through them.
Yeah.
Arms wide. Which is insane, and it looks amazing. It has that sort of thing of, pure power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you get hit twice,
you're going to die.
You're going to feel it. You're going to really be on the edge.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, you're powerful, they're powerful.
Exactly. And it's understood. It's understood. But in these games, you never get to that tipping point of fun.
Yeah.
It's always an arduous task.
Yeah, like Oninaki, which we talked about.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
It's the enemy's just annoyingly tough. You don't.
Yes. Which is why it might have sounded crazy when you were saying it takes 3 hits to kill a crow.
Yeah.
Right?
The weakest enemy in the game.
Yeah, but you're experiencing it from a level of, this is now an insignificant enemy to me.
Yeah.
It'd be like you in reality fighting a pigeon.
An actual crow.
Like if you had a sword and you were fighting a pigeon.
5 hacks later.
I don't think the pigeon.
Why can't I crit on this thing? Damn it!
It would be nonsensical.
Yeah.
And it should have that tipping point.
Dire pigeon.
Yeah.
I think the size of a bear comes over. Oh crap!
There's actually a boss in Path of Exile that basically looks like that. It's just a giant pigeon. But that is where that game loses me all the time.
And also
it has such bad things in it that they never bothered to revisit. But anyway, yeah, that's what these action RPGs fail.
Yeah,
like, that's where they fail. They're not bringing anyone back into it because once somebody plays through the content, they're going to go,
Yeah.
The loot thing is completely there as well. Like randomized loot, procedurally generated maps. All of these things need to happen as well.
Yeah.
These are things we've learned.
Yeah.
Like, and this game, Din's Legacy has unlearned everything. Everything.
You must be like an empty cup so that it can be filled.
Exactly. Yes. Like they've got a cup and it's full of crap. Old, dry crap. I will not be purchasing this game for, I think it's £14.
£15.
£15. £15. I seriously, don't waste your money. Diablo 3 is £15 regularly. Like, so if you want to throw £15 at something, even if you're only going to play it for like 20 hours, that would be a hell of a lot more fun, and you'll understand what can be in terms of comboing like attacks, in terms of pathing, in terms of graphical fidelity, in terms of everything. Like, oh my god, this game is so ancient, it's unreal. Released a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, end of August. So,
well, I've been running for a long time.
Because this is you love when you talk about something you love, time just goes by, or something you hate.
Well, it's a genre I love, but it's obviously a bad example of what is out there.
Yeah.
Which mars the genre, which why people don't make these games anymore because they don't deem them as commercially viable. So,
well,
which is probably why Blizzard are hesitating to make Diablo 4.
Diablo Immortal coming soon.
Diablo Immortal's been a long time. Like, it's been almost a year. Like, I'm really like people are like saying, have they cancelled it?
I don't think. Well, the thing is, why would they cancel it?
But
it's another studio handling most of the thing.
But it's basically done.
Yeah,
because it's a reskin.
Roughly speaking, yes.
Yeah, but
the game engine's done. You know, you just throw in your models and stuff.
Yeah, but that was November last year or whatever, end of October last year.
Did they announce any kind of what's called any kind of target?
They didn't say a release date, but it basically said it was 2019.
But then again, Blizzard do take a long time with the Diablos, don't they? Diablo 3 took
Blizzard, but going back to what you just said, it's not them making it; it's another studio.
But the thing is, they want to.
Quality control, yeah.
They want to give that Blizzard experience, even though it's another studio. Also, we're just going to hold the game.
Also, another factor into this is the fact that nobody has been asked to beta test it because they put out a thing, obviously that I did sign up for. And I think
I've signed up. Yeah. Well. Hell yeah.
At BlizzCon, where it was like, sign up now, you can play the beta. If the beta hasn't even happened, where are we? Honestly,
we are at alpha. Alpha.
Alpha that's never going to get to beta, that's never going to get to gold.
Just like Diablo 3 took a long time to come out. It took a long time to come out, right?
I don't think it's... Look, the development cycle was like 5 years.
There you go, 5 years. So they announced it. 5 years from now, it will go to beta. I'm calling it now.
I don't know, though, because if you imagine, like... weirdly, I don't know what this was based on. I think it was kind of like ramping up to dismiss things from BlizzCon when that does happen in a couple of months.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to announce it at BlizzCon.
Well, obviously.
Because the thing is, because it's mobile, they can pretty much launch. You know,
but they had playable code at BlizzCon last year.
But they can. Well, actually, because they want to do beta, wouldn't they? They can have playable beta code in time for
go live. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the weird thing, right? So a couple of weeks ago, on the Diablo 3 site, they said we're going to continue to support Diablo 3. There's the
spontaneously saying.
Yep, the seasons are going to continue. This was just before season 3, like literally a few days before season 18. Started. They said we're going to continue to support Diablo 3. There's fixes, changes, new items coming. Like literally new items, like new items, not just like giving old items a new
skin.
Property.
Yeah.
No, not a skin, but like they've been giving new properties to items as well, which is great because obviously that changes builds and it creates like new.
It's
things.
like Diablo 4 is very, very far away, and we need to ensure that we have a product to bridge us till then.
Possibly yes.
But that gives a feeling that perhaps Diablo Immortal's been delayed.
Possibly yes, but I don't. Diablo Immortal was never the thing that was going to replace Diablo.
Yeah, it's a mobile side, and Diablo 4 is independent. Yeah.
I mean, in an ideal world, we would have another expansion to Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Be it a character expansion or an expansion like proper, like Reaper of Souls was.
Yeah, but the thing about doing a sequel proper is that you can rehash all the characters again and re-release all the DLC again, but in the new game.
Well, they've only ever had one DLC, and that is uncharacteristic for modern games.
In
Diablo 3, technically they've only had one DLC.
Oh, okay.
In theory, if you think about it, there was a character DLC. But that's literally a character DLC.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've added like the original roster of characters, and then they've added one in... No. Yeah, and then there was Reaper of Souls, and then there was the second, which was just the character DLC for Necromancer.
Okay.
So even if it, like... I don't know if it's going to happen, I doubt it will, because it depends on how much resources, and everything in the news says that Blizzard is drawing their forces inwards and letting go of people. Like, they actually did a wave, according to Forbes, they did a wave of, you can choose to resign and we'll pay you off.
Yeah.
Like, thing for some of their departments.
Yeah. And
then they've pulled things like, was it Overwatch or was it the other one? The esports.
Some of the esports.
Yeah, funding and things like that. The departments have like
some of the senior
receded.
Some of the senior people as well. There's been some issues there.
And then there was another guy, one of the original Diablo people, who I forget his name, but I think he was on Diablo 2. And he's left as well. So there's definitely a
contraction.
Yes, and I mean, obviously, games like Hearthstone are a super success for them because that was like a tiny team working on that as a maybe project.
Yeah,
and then it exploded. And then you've got things like Heroes of the Storm, which I think they put a lot of attention into, and then it kind of got swallowed up by the fact that it's not Dota or League.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, that was its strong point. It wasn't those games.
But the thing was, people didn't want something that wasn't those.
Well, tell that to people who play Paladin. Because that's still a thing. And that's a horrible idea. Anyway. Yes. So, don't make bad action RPGs, people, and don't play bad action RPGs.
Only make good action RPGs, I think, is the moral of this story.
I think we're going to leave it there.
We're going to leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about other games next time. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye. That was the Digital Suffering Podcast. If you'd like to suffer some more, you can find other episodes on Red Circle, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public, and SoundCloud. Please like and subscribe everywhere.